Like all those. Okay, you started.
Yes, I just clicked on it. That's more editing
More,
one.
more, yeah, more editing. That's like, banana on the code and then the all those in high tune and those things. Just I still haven't gotten it. Maybe when I come tomorrow,
Okay,
maybe when we come tomorrow for the distance.
okay, no problem. Because by your time.
Yes.
So, contemporary. Onwaka is muted.
Okay. So you
Okay,
come buy a son. Come buy a
okay,
son.
okay.
Go buy some. Maybe I'm not in one coaching.
Yeah, good.
No, so, no. Contemporary, I'm gonna
Ya pamomu.
because
Ya ni.
so the
So
show.
buy the call. Aban.
Ya, ya siu.
Kalau
Mamfian.
mafia pa.
Ya penyinyang.
Opushi buang ni.
Okay. Dia panisnya sunyin hu.
Kaki nang tu pada dia. Lagi strong itu. Ni strong itu pada dia.
Nonton tunangan cai.
Ada strong itu pada dia ba.
Ini menggama kamuan.
Di campur orang hu. So ya.
Isn't a function so change it that let's say 710 then is it yeah,
Okay. Terbiasa.
yeah.
Ada kenal buat orang ni. Kau kenal ada buat sila. Kau buat apa bayar makasa kembiang. Yang kudi.
Ganti ke.
Boy how we doing check out
Don't you hold it by yourself. Yeah, hold it like. Don't throw my phone, no. You see, you are not seeing yourself.
okay so to our viewers online we are just waiting for more members to join us. So this is exactly 7:08, and we're hoping that when once the time is 7:10, we begin our fifth lesson. And thus far, we had four lessons between 15th of August till this very moment, which is the fifth one now. And we are hoping that at the end of this very Tyap Wiki Bootcamp session that all our participants should be able to write and read in the Tyap language. And the hope is that at the end of the day, we have more productive editors that will be able to edit Wikimedia projects because we need more people to be knowledgeable about the language. And the more knowledgeable people are about the written form of it and the speaking of it, the more we find Wikipedia articles that don't need to be re-edited and re-edited all over again. Instead, you see that they become readable because we aim that at the end of the day, our students in the primary school, in the secondary school, should be able to use our materials. So thank you very much for coming, for joining us today. Fonyin Mobile Abanyin Tiaba, I can see a lady has joined us. So we are now four, and I think we can begin right away. So my name is Kambai, and I welcome you to the fifth section, the fifth lesson of the Tyap Wiki Bootcamp. And without taking much time, I'm going to share my screen right now, and then we'll begin to see how the lesson slides look like. Meanwhile, the slides are available on the page on our meta page. You can have it here, and for those of us who want to access it right on the call, you can still be able to access it from the chat. So I just dropped the link to the meta page right there, and also um, for the slides, I would also drop the direct link to the slide itself themselves, so we can have access to the slides right here. So let's go straight forward to what we came for. So this is a guide to learn to read and write here, which is a just kind of a short transition literacy course for beginners. This very lesson today is going to be about the longest that we have had. So as much as possible, we'll be fast, and it will be good that the class is interactive because there are some points that I would actually pause, and I would want someone to help me to pronounce them. Yeah, so this is the 14th day of November, Friday, 2025, and this is the fifth lesson. And this very fifth lesson is still on grammar. The grammar part of our lesson, our short transition course, is quite lengthy. And last week, or in our last encounter, we only treated nouns, and today we're going to treat something else entirely. So this is verbs now we're going to treat, and in TIAP verbs we call it term. So verbs are actually action words. Whatever word we use that are used for action, they are just called verbs. And examples of verbs, we have kide, kide in TIAP is an example, and the very first example of a verb in TIAP is the word we see here. By means to come, and then we have swan. Swan means to sit, and then we have liat. Liat means to speak. We have one means to cook. Talk, talk means to fetch or to insult or to abuse. And then we have bom. Bom means to sing. We have song. Song means to dance. And then we have my. My means to laugh. Tway to cry. Tiong to run, lap to refuse. And mind you, these words can actually have other meanings apart from the ones that we have, but we'll get to know that much more later. So we have in English this very word to added to verbs, so you can be able to understand that these are verbs. But in Tiap we don't have that kind of to like this in English, or like the the Germans add at the end of their verbs. So what we have is just the word plainly as it is written, and these words can be converted to nouns the way they are, and sometimes they are used themselves as nouns and at the same time as verbs. But then we have to note that verbs that are made into nouns, they too will require articles. That's they will require definite articles. For example, when you have this verb like buy, buy is a verb but by can also mean coming. That's coming as a verb and coming as a noun. So these words in English are called gerunds, and these gerunds in Tyap they usually take the definite article. So for by we have who, by who that means the coming, swat who the sitting, my who the laughter or the laugh. We have Somji, the dance, Chethu, the traveling or the journey, Nyeji. Nyeji is the doing or the deed, and so on and so forth. So Tiabgerons are quite numerous. And then that's where we're going to stop for verbs for now. And then we will look at modifiers, I mean adverbs rather. So what are adverbs? Adverbs are actually modifiers or qualifiers of verbs or adjectives, and we have some here, some examples. We have a word like shonshon. Shonshon can also be used as moshonshon, which would mean gently. And then we have kakao. Kakao is something that's been done rushingly, or you can also say makakao. We also have kokwak. Kokwak can be used like as it is to be energetically, and you can also say it as makokwak. And then we have makbird. Makbird. Makbird is deliberately, one is doing something deliberately or intentionally. And then we have magaguk or gaguk, it means hastily, and then manchet. Manchet is strongly, something that is done with strength. And then we have monyonyuang. Monyonyuang is quietly, and then we have angang. Angang is fast, and then umfan. Umfan means quickly or soon. And then we have churang. Churang is always something that is happening continuously. But then sometimes, for more emphasis, some verbs in Tiap that are ending, I mean, if some verbs endings in Tiap are usually re-echoed. And some examples here that we have include shon shon and shon, kakao, gugugugug, nyunyuang and anyuang. So, and these are not only peculiar to adverbs. We can also have them in nouns as well, like morning, the morning time, toton. We can still say totonoto early in the morning. So it's for emphasis. The Tiap word for how much and then how many or how many would also depend on the definite article of the noun. In other words, most things in Tiap or most words or correct usage of Tiap depends on one's knowledge of how to use the definite articles. Now, earlier on in our lessons, we told you that we have about six definite articles in Tiap, and uh, two of them are used mainly for singular nouns. Two of them can be used for both singulars and plurals, and then two of them are used mainly for plural nouns. And then, but then you expect that everything follows in this two pattern, but sometimes it is altered. Like in this very case, when we have nouns that are having the ka, wu, na, and ba definite articles, those very nouns, if you are about to use them for questioning, you have to use this form for how much or how many. The form among is what you use. And we have an example. The example is akakona yeremang amangnya. Akakona yeremangnya, that is how many are the trees. And then we also have for the who nouns. Sometimes they are adjectives, but in this very case, we are just making emphasis with nouns. So if that very word they are going to use has a definite article who, it has the definite article who, like yang who, fungonian who, and so on and so forth. You use the word man instead of a man. You use man. So, for example, you have this very sentence: Liliot who yet mankwa. Liliot who yet mankwa. How many are the names? And then we also have for the G nouns, we use the word nyang. instead of a man or man, we use yuan. So if you are to ask how many or how much, you say Zhong Yuanja instead of Zhong Amang Ja or Zhong Mang Ja, which would sound incorrect in Tia. So Zhong, as we know it, is belonging to the G definite article. If you want to say the goat, you say Zhong G, and then the plural form is Zhong Ji. That's the goats. And if you look at Liliot is belonging to the who, and then Akakon is belonging to the na. And then we also have other nouns like Akonka. Akonka is belonging to the ka definite article, and then Otiogu. Otiogu is belonging to the who definite article, and then we have Akakon or Akanya. They will belong to the na, and then we have the new Etiop belongs to the ba definite article group. So that is that for the adverbs. So now we have entered into adjectives. What are adjectives? Adjectives are words that further describe nouns. In Tyap, there are about two types of adjectives, which we call the dependent and then the independent adjectives. So what are dependent adjectives? The dependent adjectives are those very adjectives that you have the a prefix. When you look at those adjectives, you usually see them begin with the a prefix, and then those very adjectives are usually followed immediately by nouns. That's why they are called dependent adjectives. When we use them as they are, it may not really make much sense, so to say. But some examples of those kind of adjectives are aside, adintu, shun, and so on and so forth. And then we also have some examples of the usage wherein we use the adjectives followed by a noun. We have asayajijak. Asayajijak means white sand. Asai is white, while ajijak is sand. Then we have adindungdung. Sorry, I will still beg for your pardon for my translation. Uh, so probably someone else will be able to pronounce it with the right tonation, um, as the Tiap speakers from the Mabodo area will be able to pronounce it or would pronounce it. But then I'll just do my best. And wherever I need your support, I think actually Babe, you stand by to help me to pronounce it. So we have Odindungzong. Odindungzong is a black goat, a black goat. But mind you, you can see the indefinite article a is not added anywhere in here because we don't usually have it, or we don't really have the indefinite articles in here. So Odinjung is black, and then Jung is goat. So that is black goat. But and then also we have Oshong Okon. Oshong Okon is a red tree, and then we have other ones and so on and so forth. So right here, the adjectives definite article is usually used in place of that of the nouns. What this means is that asai has its own definite article, teacher has its own definite article. The definite article for asai is wu, asai, and then we have the ba being the definite article of Ajijak. So Asaiwu Ajijak ba. Ordinarily, you expect to have it as Asai Ajijak ba, but that doesn't happen in Tiap. Instead, you use the definite article of the adjective instead. So that's the reason why we are having Asai Ajijak wu, not Asai Ajijak ba. The same thing with Adundun Zonu. Adundun Zonu is carrying the definite article of Adundun, not the definite article of Zon, which is G. So if we were to carry the definite article of this very tone, that's goat, it would be Adundun Zonji. But in this very case, we're having Adundun Zonu because that's the way the language functions, which is the black goat. And then we also have Oshun, Okonu. Oshomokonu here is the red tree. We are having Oshom Okonu instead of Oshom Okonka because Okon is having the car definite article, but Oshom is carrying the who definite article. But as it is said in this very line, you will always use the definite article of the adjective rather than that of the noun wherever you have these independent adjectives in here, wherever you find them. So the independent adjectives are those Tyap adjectives that do not carry the R prefix. They don't usually have this R prefix, this prefix rather. So we can see examples such as sai. Sai could mean bright, sai could mean white, or to become white. And then we have junjun. Junjun is black on its own, or to blacken, to become black. And then shun is red, or to become red, that's to redden. Jojot, jojot is watery, and then tutuk is thick or something that is viscous. And then we have jojot. Jojot is something that is prolonged. For example, when our meeting gets prolonged, we say, no, Angie, I don't can jojot. That's as if this meeting is prolonged. Then we have titip. Titip is something that is quite dark, very dark, and then we have Kodejuk. Kodejuk is something that is weighty, it has weight, it's heavy. And then we have Hyohyo. Hyohyo, something that is easy or light in weight, you know. And so we can actually see why this one is dependent and the other one is independent because um, when we look at this very side, Dijak, um, and then we look at this very one, we see the is missing. But then I don't have to add any noun right here. Instead, the noun is usually added before the word itself. So, or sometimes it could also be used like this very independent adjectives could also be used as nouns themselves um, in some cases, you know. So that is the Tiap language. And then we have determiners, the adjectival determiners in Tiap. Uh, the Tiap word for the word English word another, just like how much and how many in the adjective, I mean in the adverb part of this lesson, has three forms. Now, knowing which form to use will depend on the definite article of the noun in question or the noun you are using. So it's the same situation as the one we have right here, or um, we had right, which place right here about how much and how many. So the same thing happens to this word another. So if it belongs to the car, that's if the noun belongs to the car, the who, the na, the bar, definite article group. We use the word a young, just like a man. In the other side, we have a young, meaning another. And then we have an example. Nachara Kodayan, Nachat Okodayan. I will find another tree. And this sentence could also mean I will need another tree. It could also mean I will want another tree. So the word chat in Tiap has many meanings. So it depends on the context of usage. And then if that very noun, and before here, you can see the noun is upon here. Upon is tree. Upon tree, that's upon car. And because it is upon car, that's why we are using a yarn. And then we have the words that fall under the who definite articles. Now we have words such as Kiang Hu, that's the thing, Fang Hu, the region, the area, the district. We have Feng Hu, I don't know. Okay, we have other words and so on and so forth. So you can think about them. But if you have such words, you use the word yang instead of yang. So in this very case, you can see that whenever it is belonging to the who nouns, that is usually deleted. That the of this very group is usually deleted to this very state. And in the example we have, it says Ndi Bwagyang, Ndi Bwagyang. I see another hand. Ndi Bwagyang. I see another hand. Bwag here is hand, and then another is yang. Is I, the first person personal pronoun I, and then D is to see. Remember, in our last lesson, it says that whenever you have the word starting with letter L, and if it is a personal pronoun as a verb, you usually change the L to D. So Ndi I see instead of Nli you I see. So it's Ndi for Tyap. And then for words that fall under this G nouns or G definite article group, we usually use the word yang, yang. And words under this G group, we have words like gen, words like tone, words uh, like um, like words like swarm. There are many. So in this very case, we have an example, and that example says fa or fa. It means slaughter another goat. Slaughter another goat. The word ton here is meaning goat, and jan is meaning another. So you can see the way we place our sentence or our words within the sentence, the syntax of Tyap. Unlike English, English will put the jam here, that's another, but Tyap will switch it the other way around. So even though the Tyap language and the English language use the SVO pattern of sentencing, we have a little difference whenever we it comes to the arrangement of you know um, determiners or definite articles. We switch them um, the other way around in the two languages. We also have a similar situation for numbers. For numbers 1 to 5 in Tiap, there exists three forms. Again, it depends on the definite article of the word the number is referring to. If the word belongs to the ka, wu, na, ba uh, definite article group, we count a new, a fair, a tat, a nine, a phone, a new, a fair, a tat, a nine, a phone. And we have an example here, and the example says, Ndi akwana nyunkia, Ndi akwana nyunkia, Ndi akwana nyunkia. It is one tree that I see. Upon a new is one tree. So you may be confused about this explanation, but when you see the example, it makes it better. So what this example or what the statement is saying is that this is the noun that the number is referring to. This number is actually giving the amount of this very noun. And whenever this very noun is falling under either of these four definite articles right here, we use this form of counting for 1 to 5 a new, a fair, a third, a nine, of one. But then we have a second group, which is the who words. The who words, we usually count new, fair, third, nine, phone, new, fair, third, nine, phone. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We have an example for this. Tiabuak Nyunghua, Tiabuak Nyunghua, or Tibuak Nyunghua, Tibuak Nyunghua. It is one hand that you place. That is, you have to only place a single hand. But right here, we have um, some explanations that we need to take note of. Now, we usually use new, fair, tag, nine, phone, especially when the object is singular. But when the object is plural, there's something we usually add to the new, I mean to the fair, tag, nine, phone. So that only affects number 2, 3, 4, 5. Here, for numbers 2 to 5, you add the prefix n to that very number, new. I mean, fair, that nice one. And we have an example. The example says, Ndi Lilion Fernhua. Ndi Lilion Fernhua. It is two names that I see. Lilion means names. Names. Fern is still two. But then we are having the n prefix because this is plural. The Lilion is plural. I will come back to this point again. The second point says, also add an n prefix to numbers 2, 3, 4, 5, accompanying plural nouns belonging to the ka, wu, ba, na definite article group, having a singular form that belongs to the who definite article group as above. Now, what this is saying is that whenever you have a word that falls under the ka definite article, wu definite article, ba definite article, or na definite article that is a plural, but its own singular form is belonging to the who definite article group, we usually add an n prefix to fair, tag, nine, phone. And then we have an example, Nkiang, Nkiang Nkiang. There are five things, not four, not three, there are five things. You can see Nkiang here is the plural form for Kiang. Nkiang, the definite article, the word Nkiang would carry is na, Nkiang na. That is the things, the things. Kiang Hu is the thing. So Kiang, which is the singular form for Nkiang, falls under the who definite article group. But in Kiang, the plural form of Kiang falls under the na definite article group. So you expect that it's supposed to be in Kiang, Alphonia, but we are having in Kiang, Umphonia. Why? That is the way the language functions. Now back here again, this very first point is saying that even though the singular form of that very noun you are talking about belongs to either the who, the ka, the ba, or the na group, if the singular form falls under this very group, so long as the plural form falls under the who group, the number you are going to use 2, 3, 4, 5, you must put an n prefix to the new and to the fair, that 9 and 4. It has to be in that, in fair, in that 9 in 4. So Liliod has a singular form that falls under the ka definite article. The singular form for Liliod, who is a Liodka. A Liodka is the, but the plural form is Liliod, who. And then the singular form for Nkyangna is Kyang Hu, and the plural form is Nkyangna. So for the who group, so long as either the singular form or the plural form of that very noun we are going to use has a who in it, then you have to use for number 2, 3, 4, 5, in fair, in third, in 9, in 4. So I think we would all digest this one little by little and we'll understand it better. For the third group, which is the G nouns, we usually count shum, swear, tat, nyai, chun, jum, swear, tat, nyai, chun. And we have an example here which says Sagnum Johnswell. Sagnum Johnswell, keep 2 goats for me. Sagnum Johnswell, John is goats and Swang is 2. We're using Swang, not affair, not fair, because zone belongs to the G definite article group is zone G, not zone Ka, not zone Wu, not zone Na, not zone Hu, not zone Ba. It's zone G. And the plural is zone G is still under the G group. So that's why we're using SWAM. So for numbers 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, we have to be extra careful about how we use numbering in Tyap. But for number 6 to infinity, there are only, or there's only one form for all of them. 6 is a tar, 7 is an atat, 8 is an nine, even though some dialects will say nine, not an nine. That's like from around Ashomashi or Mantaso, they could say nine. Sholyo, another dialect of the KCG language group, would also say nine. But other dialects like Gorok or Phantom will say a nine work. So the Tiap counting system actually stops at number 6. But I wonder why these laws do not apply to number 6, but they apply to number 1 to 5. But 6 is where the numbers of Tiap stop. Any other number is a multiplication or is an addition of the existing numbers 1 to 5. Like an atat is a 9, and a tat, which is 3 and 7, giving you a 9. A tat making an atat, and then 8 is an I and an I, which is an I, and we are having an I, which is 8, and then a kobunyum. A kobunyum, I don't really know, but maybe it is a kobunyum. Maybe they are covering 1 from kop, which is 10, or which used to be 10, to give 9, and then swap uh, used to be 12 when it was the metric system or whatever system the Tiap speaking people were using used to be 12, but today it is now used as number 10. So the numbering system has been a little bit altered, and we are having a different counting system. Nevertheless, that is another lesson for another day, but for this very lesson, we're just discussing the basics. So for number 6, an attack, number 7, and a 9. I mean, an attack, number 8, and a 9. Number 9, Okogonyum. Number 10, Swat. Number 11, Swat Swat Manyum. We don't usually pronounce it as swak manyum. We pronounce it as swak manyum. The same thing with swak mafem, swak matat, swak manai, swak mata, swak manatat, swak mananai, and so on and so forth, swak fam. All of them have the same rule. So even if you are going to say done, if you want to say 20 goats, you are going to say done in swak fam. We don't have a special way of saying John Swanfian and Jan or Jan Swanfian. They are the same numbering from number 6 to number infinity. They are endless. So the example here says Akakwanata, that's six trees, Jonathan 7 girls, and so on and so forth. So for counting in hundreds and in thousands, that's from number 600, 700, and so on and so forth. And then for number 6,000, 7,000, we also use the same numbering system. What this one is saying is that if you are counting from 100, 100 is chi. Chi is chi in Tiap. And then 200 is chi sweang. Chi sweang because the word chi falls under the G definite article group. So that's why we're using Jung, Sweang, Tat, Nyan, Ton for the first 5 of the 100. So we have chi for 100, Chi Jung, I mean Chi Sweang for 200, Chi Tat for 300, Chi Nyai for 400, Chi Tsun for 500, but from 600 we say Chi Ata, 700 Chi Nata, 800 Chi Nanai, 900 Chi Okubunyu, 1000 Chi Kop, Chi Kop, or Chikop Jung, but it's often said Chikop, and then 2000 Chikop Swam, 3000 Chikop Tat, 4000 Chikop Nyai, 5,000 Chikoba Swan. But when you now start counting from 6,000, it becomes Chikoba Ta, 7,000 Chikoba Nata, 8,000 Chikoba Nine, and so on and so forth. So it only applies for to the very first five of all counting systems in here, all the numbers in here. And then we will also have the diminutive for our adjectives. For our nouns. Now, there are two diminutives used in here. The very first one is aba, and the second one is abi. Now, we are still doing our studies to find out why these two and what are the criteria for classing the different words into either of these two. But to me, I actually see it as the aba being used for countable nouns, and then the abi used for mostly or often uncountable nouns, even though there are some exceptions. But the abi is usually for uncountable nouns, and then the aba is for countable nouns. And we have examples such as abangon. And before the examples, you notice that the diminutives in Tyap are used as prefixes. In other words, they are added to the noun words. They are not spaced like in English. We have little child in Tyap. We join them together to become one word. So we have abangon. Abangon is a little child. Abali is little I or little house, because Ali is house. Ali is also I. So abali, aba, abali can mean a small house or a little I. But if we want to differentiate the house from the I, oftentimes we say abali for little house and abattoir for little I. And then we have aba vo. It's actually aba of vo, but the is deleted here, and then we have aba vo instead of aba of vo, and then that is little place, and so on and so forth. All these places are countables. But when you look at abinam, abinam, little meat, a bit soup, a little paste, a bit of little honey, a bit support maybe, and then a bit cube, and so on and so forth. These are countables. Now, their definite articles in their singular form is usually car. So when you look at all these very words, all these words, both the aba and abi, they are singular words. They are singular definite article in their singular forms. The definite article is usually ka. So abangonka is the little child. Abavoka, the little place. Abalika, the little house, the little I. Abavo, aba, all the above. The same thing with abinamka, the little meat. Abituka, the little took a bit on cap, the little honey. Um, so that's what this very point is explaining. But then for the plural forms, they remain the same, um, but the definite articles change. In other words, we don't usually have a different form for singular aba and plural aba. They usually remain the same, but the noun that actually joins with them is the one that changes. So we usually have a bangon for the little child, but a man or a man for the little children. But remember that Ungon has its own definite article, which is ka, and then man has its own definite article, which is na. So whenever we have the plural state, we are going to use the definite article of the plural word, which is adjoining with the diminutive. So about man na instead of about man ka, because aba has the definite article ka. But if it is plural, you look at the inside of it. If the word inside is a plural or a singular, and then you use the definite article of the plural if it is a plural. In this very case, it is a na, so we are using abamanna. And then the same thing with um, let's say abakanyam na, that's the little girls. But abangonyam ka, the little girl. Abanzamji, that's the little boys or the little young boys or the little young men. And then abango siang ka, the little boy. And then we also have prepositions in Tyap. And what are prepositions? Prepositions are actually words that describe the relative position of things or events. And we have our kide as that's examples. The very first one is atafa. Atafa is underneath. And then the second example is tazwa. Tazwa is on top. Then we have twadzwa. Twadzwa is up. So a lot of their speakers usually mix this tazwa and twadzwa by calling all of them tazwa. But the difference is that this tazwa is something that is when you keep something on top of, in other words, the direction of keeping or the direction which you are pointing to is from up down. You are pointing down to a particular surface. But when you have swadra, your direction of pointing, you are pointing from down up. You are pointing up the upward direction. But when you are pointing the downward direction, you use tadzwa. This one is you are pointing up twadra. So Twadra could mean up, Twadra could mean sky, Twadra could mean heaven, Twadra could mean anything that is toward the up direction. Then we have Debiam. Debiam is beside. We have Mami. Mami is inside. We have Adosa. Adosa is outside. We have Bangban. Bangban is near. Bang Bang is far. Makawatia. Makawatia is in the middle of. So all these ones are giving a particular location where something can be found. So prepositions are also words that further describe nouns. So they give more description to that very noun as regards its position. So we are kind of pausing for parts of speech, and then we are now looking at the plural forms of nouns in Tyap. In many cases, English just attaches an S at the end of a noun to get the plural form. In other words, English for pluralization uses S suffix to they are usually used they are usually added to singular words to give plurals in English most times, but in some other cases like teeth, tooth, uh, boys, and so on and so forth. They're usually having different situations, different rules. But that is English. But then in Tiap, the situation is quite different. There are at least about 8 different ways of pluralizing in Tiap. About 8 of them, unlike English that has a very few of them. The very first one in Tiap is the use of a ya. A ya is usually added to singular nouns, and a ya is usually used for words that belong to the wu definite article group. So if you have a tio, a yang a tiobu, a nedu, these are pluralized oftentimes by the addition of a ya. So a ya plus a tier is the word for father. We are going to have a ya tier. But then we find out that the first in the atia is usually deleted, and the aya and the atia are usually joined together to give us aya tier. And then the second way of pluralizing is by the addition of a k prefix to singular nouns. Now, this occur is usually used oftentimes for singular words that belong to the ka definite article group. Sometimes it could be added to some other words, but it's mainly used for the ka definite article group words. The same thing for a ya being used for the wu definite article group for pluralization. And in our example, we have a kwen, a k plus a kwen. You see that the in a kwen is usually deleted, and then we have a kwen. not a a kwen. And it is one word, not two words. The same thing with ayat here is one word, not two words. And then we also have the third way of pluralizing it here. That is the addition of the and the prefixes. Now, these and are often used for words that fall under the who definite article group. That's if the word is having a who singular form, we usually use and for pluralization. But there's something funny about the who definite article words. Sometimes it is and that are added, and sometimes it is sometimes it's that's added. So the who definite article group usually has many ways of pluralizing them. And the example we have here is and work, and that is work. So there's nothing deleted. We just join them together, and then we have the second, the plural form. And then we have and can together. Work is hand, kyang is thing, so kyang is things or properties or possessions and so on and so forth. Work would mean hand, work would mean a tree branch, work would mean branch and so on and so forth. One is a tree, a tear is father, so yeah, your father's trees, hands, things. And then we have the fourth way of pluralizing in Tiap by the addition of an prefix to the singular noun. Now, by the time we have, you add to fufo. Fufo is ear. Ear belongs to the who definite article group. That fufo who is the ear. That when we have a fufoba is the ears. So you see that even the plural forms they usually switch, they change their definite articles also, and it is usually not uniform. It varies. So that's why one would have to learn each word for what it is and what definite article it carries. If you know the definite article it carries, then you can be able to know what numbering it uses and what word for how much or how many you can use for it, and then what word for what numbers you can use for it. So, Ofufo is a bar group word. Inkyang is a na group word, definite article word. Agakon is a na definite article word, and aya is a bar definite article word. Then the fifth way of pluralizing in Tiap is by the subtraction of a from the singular noun. That is, we have a singular noun, a fun. A fun is fish, but we are pluralizing it. We have to delete the from it, and then it will give us fun. So there are a few examples under this very group, and then there are also a few examples under this very group. But this one has the most examples, and this one also has uh, the following examples in terms of size, total of their language words. The sixth way of pluralizing in Tyap is by doubling the root part of the singular noun. Now, the very example we have under this very example is Tian or Tian. Tian is a spot, but if you want to make it plural, you say Titian. We also have other examples like Nyan, Nyan. We have others and so on and so forth. You can find out for yourself. So we usually multiply the very first part of it. But something funny about this very group is that this doubling is usually done for singular words that belong to the G definite article group. So Tian is a G word. Tianji is the spot or the place or the point, and then Titianji is the spots, the places, the locations, a particular point in a place. A place is Ofo, but a particular point is Tian. And then when you want to say point to point or place to place, you say Tian to Tian. So these are the ways that the Tiap language usually changes. So if I would rewind a bit, aya is usually used mainly for the woo words. Aka is usually used for the ka words. And are usually used for the who words. The is usually for the who word. The well, it often is a car word actually. Often car is the fish, and then fun who, the fish, plural, the fishes, or so on and so, or also in English, but the plural form of fish, that's fun. And it is a who word. So it's as if there's a switching between these 4 and 5. And then for this one, it is a G word, both for singular and for plural. They are both G. And then also for the change of tone, this one also is used for singular words, singular forms in Tyap that fall under the G group. So this number 6 and number 7 are both used for the G group of words, but not only the G, but mostly. So we have John G, which is the singular, and then you have John G for plural. So this very situation, we usually find it in words that are falling under letter Z, often DMG, singular DMG, DMG for plural, and so on and so forth. Zom, the same thing, Zom, singular, that's singular for elephant, and then singular for uh, elephants, for plural for elephants, and so on, and so on and so forth. But then in this very change of tone, we also have other words that don't belong to the G definite article group, like Wu, and then Etiogba. That's the man for singular Wu, and then Etiogba, that's the man. So you see that even though it's a woo word, but the plural form is change of tone to give you a bar plural, you know. And then the last way of pluralizing it is by the changing of the word entirely, completely changing it. So Ungon is a child, Ungonka is a child, and then Mana, the children, child, children. The word is totally different. The same thing with house. House is ali, and then plural is akasa. Akasa is houses. Alika, singular, house. Akasana, houses, plural. Alika, I. A hiba or a liliba for plural, eyes. So these are the entire ways of pluralizing. I don't know if there are other ways for pluralizing in Tyap. These are the major ones, the 8 major ones we have discovered thus far. Now we can consider the following examples and give the plural forms. So I don't know, can I open my mic and ask us to interact a little bit? This is our classwork currently. So let me just uh, open the mic. So you can please open your mic, or let me just unshare, so that I'll see how many people are actually following. So um, who can be able to who volunteer to give us the plural form for all those words that were highlighted? I have sent the link so you can be able to open it, but I can still be able to share the the slides again so that we can be able to see um, the whole thing. So who can unmute and share with us the plural forms for these very words? The mic is over to you, students. Sorry, we're going to be a bit, and the lesson is lengthy, so we're going to take a little of your time, but please bear with us. It's for our good. So, who would actually volunteer to give us the plural forms of these words? You can pronounce the
Okay, let me,
singular and then give us the plural.
let me try.
Okay, okay, Jim.
Okay, the first is
Yes.
Etiop,
Okay, sure.
and the
And
plural
the
form is
plural.
Etiop.
Okay, so can you please be giving us the singular word like Otiobu and then plural Otioba with the
Okay, all right.
definite article? Yes.
Okay. The first is Otiogu.
Okay.
The plural form is Otiogba.
Okay.
The second
Then the
for
second.
Duke,
Okay. Obibu.
Eduwu.
Okay.
Then the plural form is Enyugba,
Okay. And you born.
Enyugba. Then
Okay.
for
The
Ngwan,
third one. Yeah.
Ngwanka,
Yeah. Okay.
Ngwanka. Then the
Yes.
plural form is Mana,
Okay. Then the fourth one.
Ngwansiam,
Ka.
Ngwansiamka.
Okay.
Then the plural form is uh,
Zamji.
okay, Zamji. Yes, Zamji. Yes, yes, I remember Zamji.
Then the
Okay.
next one. Yeah.
Then Ngwansiam,
Ngoniam.
Ngwansiamka.
Okay. No, we have done Ngosiam. This one's
Okay,
Ngoniam now.
okay, we've done that. Okay, Ngwaniam,
Okay.
then
Yes.
Ekaneamna,
Okay. Then
Ekaneamna. That's the plural form.
then, okay, then the next one.
Then we have
Okay, please you can continue now to okay, so we stopped at Ogwa.
okay, the singular form is
Yeah.
Ogwamu.
Okay.
Then the plural form is Ogwamba.
Okay. Then the next one.
Yes, can you see that? Okay. Then Eblin, Eblinka.
Okay.
The plural form is Biblinhu.
Okay. Then the next one.
Then Okwanka,
Okay. Then the plural form.
Kukwanhu.
Okay. Is it not supposed to be Akakwana?
Okay, Okwanna. Yeah, but
Okay.
is the other wrong?
Not really, but uh, the there's usually a particular form that is used more often. Just like we have a plural form for I, Alika, then the plural form a Hiba, but we also use Alili, is a
Oh,
Lilipa, and then the same thing for year, Aliaka, but the plural form we often use Indiana, but we also use Liliahu. So it may be correct, but we also have. So if it has more than one form, you can just give us the two forms also.
okay. So Okakwanna. Okay.
Okay. Yes. Then the
Then
next one.
Tayaku, Tayaku.
Okay.
Then Nkiatna,
Okay. Intayagna.
Nkiatna.
Okay. Then the next one.
Ekibishiwu,
Okay. Then the plural form.
Enyabishiba,
Okay. And Bishiba. Then the next one.
Ofa, Ofaka,
Okay. Then the next
Fufahu,
the plural form. Fufaku. Okay. Then the
Fufahu,
next one. Okay. And the next one.
Ofan, Ofanka,
Funka. Okay. Then the plural form.
Funhu,
Funku. Then the next one.
Funhu,
Okay.
Ofanka,
Okay. Funka. Then plural form.
Ofangna,
No.
Ofangna.
No. This is a fan with an with a G at the end. If it is a fan, then it will be a kafana. But this is
Okay,
a fan ka. Then the plural form will be mfangna.
okay, okay, okay,
Yes.
all right.
Okay. Then the next one.
Chicho, Chichohu,
Yes. Then the plural form.
um, Kai. Please, can you try that? Can you give me that?
that's that's
Chichoba, Chichoba.
Kikyoba.
Is that correct?
Okay. Then the next one. Yes, correct. Kikyoba.
Okay. Vaku,
Then the next one. Okay.
Vaku,
Then the
Vaku,
plural form.
then Vagna.
Okay. Then plural. Okay. Then the singular form.
Agamun, Agamunka.
Okay. Gamunka. Then plural form.
Then the plural is Agamunna,
Okay. Muna. Okay. Then
Agamunna,
this. Okay. Gamuna. Then this one.
Kram, Kramji.
Okay. Then plural form.
Then Kramji,
Okay. Plural form is Kamji. Just a change of
mm,
tone. Then the next one.
Atiaka,
Okay, then the plural form.
Titiehu, Titiehu,
Okay, then the next one.
Chukji,
Okay, then the plural form.
Chukji,
Chuchuchi. Then the next word.
Kokuma Chuk,
Ah, the
this
plural
one,
form of the chuk.
which of
Yes.
which of which of it? Is it
So
Chuk,
the plural
Kokuma,
form chuk
yes,
now. The plural form
Chuk, yes, that's what I said. Is it Chuchuk or Chuk?
chuchuji.
Okay, Chuchuk,
That's plural.
Chuk
Yes.
or
Then the next word is
Agwagu,
okay.
Agwagu,
Then the plural form.
Agwagba,
Ayagwagba. Okay. Then the next one.
Agwagba,
Okay. Then the next one.
Nwanji,
Okay. Then the plural form.
Ninywan.
Is it not Nyanji?
What is it?
Nyanji.
Yes, Nwanji. So what's the
Yes.
plural?
Plural should be Nyanji.
Okay,
That's if I'm not myself mistaken, but it's supposed to be
okay,
Nyanji. Yeah. Then
okay.
the singular form.
They,
This
sorry, they are all the same sound.
Yes, that's
they
right.
are all the
That's
same
something.
sound. Abi.
Yes, Nwanji, Nwanji.
Okay, both Nyanji. Oh, okay. So thank you, Atoli, Ellie. So for this very job, I pronounced the time. Okay, don't worry. Tell you about it. You can still repeat it.
Zonji,
Okay, then
Zonji,
plural. Zonji,
Zonji,
plural. Okay, that's plural. Then this very word now.
Agba.
Back.
Okay, Agba,
Yes. Then give us the
Agbagu,
definite article. Okay, babu, then plural.
Agbagu.
Okay, then plural.
Aya Agbagba, Aya Agbagba.
Okay, I have back. Okay. Then this next word.
Otutie, Otutiedu,
Then what it said, then the plural form.
Anyitiegba,
And it said back. Then this next word.
Anu,
Okay.
Kanu,
Anuka.
Akanu.
Anuka. The singular, the definite article of the singular.
Okay, Anuka, Akanuna,
Okay, Anuka.
Kokuma Nunuhu, Nunuhu,
No, no, who. Okay. Then the next word.
Aman, Aman,
Okay.
Muman, okay, Amanka,
Okay. Then plural.
Mumanhu,
Plural. No, come on. Come on.
Akamana, Akamana,
Come on now. Then this
Akamana,
very last. Then the last one.
Kunyat,
Okay, the definite article.
Kunyatu.
Then the plural form.
I don't know the plural form of this.
Actually,
Nkuniatna,
Ellie.
nkuniatna.
Okay, so
Okay,
by
Kunyatna.
the way, Gwaka was saved us.
Yes,
So, Akwan actually, Babe, somebody please clap for him. So he
yes,
has
clap for
gotten
me.
almost, yeah, clap for him. He has over 80% of the whole thing. So Ochok is a man, object, woman, Ngwan, child, Ngosiam, boy, Ngoniam, girl, Agwam, king or ruler or chief, Abjin, land, Akwan, tree, Kaya, food, Atubishi, human being, offer, belly, often, fish, often, stone, kikyo, leaf, vac, road, agamun, agamun is mosquito, hang is calabash, obscure, head, chu, seat or chair, and then ogwak an expert, a professional, an oga, if you are to say it in English, or pidgin English, and or Yoruba. And then you have neon, chicken, zone, goat, a bag is a a male poultry bird. It could be a bag neon, it could be a bag a man, a bag so on and so forth. So long as a poultry bird with two legs and feathers on its body, and then we have a tutor teacher, a new mouth, a man, bird, kunyat, earthworm. So, what is actually the basis of generating the forms in the Tyap language? So, what actually is the basis? Because from what we can see, the definite article has a very big role to play in determining what definite or what plural form that each and every one of these very words carry. So just as we explained in this very first 1 to 8 of these 8 ways of pluralizing in TIAP, once you just see a singular word that belongs to the who definite article group, you begin to think that okay, the definite article, the plural form of it is um, going to carry either an a yeah, or maybe it may carry it may carry a rising tone on the plural form of it. And then when you see a word that's falling under the car definite article group, you begin to think, okay, you see the plural form is going to fall under the group of words, or maybe the first syllable will be deleted or so. And then when you see the who word, you begin to think, okay, probably the okay, I just said the who now. And so if it is a who word, singular word, you begin to think it can either have an or an The is usually used if the first letter of the singular word is a plosive sound. Plosive sounds in Tiap include b, that's letter B, g, letter G. We have ba, letter KP, or the sound KP ba, and then we have ba, the ba sound, and then we have the pa, the P sound pa. And then I think these are the five. If there be others, you can also check to see. But these are the major ones, and those plosives are usually having the prefix. But if it is any other sound, any other consonant, then you use the instead of it. So we usually have mkiang, not mkiang. And then we usually say bum, that's all, not bum. You understand? So these are how to determine whether it is M or N to use. And then if it is a who also, you can either have the for its plural, or we can also have number 4 as its own plural. And then if it's a G word, then definitely its plural form will fall under this one or under this one. And then those are the 4 singular ways, or 4 singular definite articles in there. As for the plurals, they are already safe. It's just to convert them back to singular. And sometimes the singulars also, the singular can also have is a separate word, different word, not related at all as is plural. And that singular word could fall under any of the 4 definite articles, any of the 4 singular definite articles. And sometimes, or most times, it's usually under the car definite article, or under the who definite article, or maybe, and so on and so forth. You can find that for yourself. But this is an assignment for us to discover what exactly is the reason, what actually determines what definite article a particular type of word carries. And then we have affixation. Affixation words are actually words that are created by adding a prefix or a suffix to them. And in Tiap, we actually have the the prefixes, that's the words or the morphemes that are put before the word. And in English, there are prefixes, there are suffixes, but yeah, it's mainly about the prefix, not the suffix, because we seem not to be having suffixes. So we have certain examples, and these very examples are actually verbs, like we can see from this very page right now. We have the n prefix added to swan, which is to sit, and then we have swan. Swan doesn't mean I sit. No, if it is I sit in Tyap, we usually separate the from the swan. So will stand on its own because it's a pronoun. Just like English I, if I say I sit, I won't combine I and sit together to become he sit, not I sit anymore. The same thing in Tyap, we don't combine the n with the swan to be in swan. It will be swan. That's I sit with a space in between. But swan, if you see this one, it means something else in here, and then it means something different in here. So we also have fad. Then you have fad. Then we have fad, and then we have tag. Also tag, which is usually combined, or which is combined with the to create this affixation word tag. And then we also have sure to drink, which is combined with that n prefix to give us sure. And then we have nat, which is combined with to give us nat. And then we have nat is to go, and then my is to laugh or to measuring or measurement. We have my combined with because another thing is that the prefix is used for plosives and then for nasals. Even though the is also a nasal, but whenever we have as a word and want to prefix it, we don't usually use here like some Tyap speakers do. For example, they want to say ma, they will now put n mai. This is not correct, both linguistically and in Tyap itself. It's not ma, it's ma, and this one is my, and my is well, I'll say, uh, I'll explain it later. And then we have by, which is to come, and then which is prefixed with this to give us by. And then we have bro to fetch, and combined with to give us bro. So they are very many. You keep on finding them in the Tyap language. And then we have some certain examples. And the first example says nga chukji ang swan. If I don't pronounce it very well, you can unmute and help me to pronounce it. Or rather, let me just give the mic to Wakap to read these sentences for us so that we get the tonation abstract, correctly. So Wakap, please unmute and read this for us.
Nga chukji ansan.
Okay. Nga chuji and swan. So you can hear the way the vibration or the is going up and down right here. So it's in Tyap, not only the vowel sounds have the tonation, even the nasals like and that's n and also have their tonation also. And this nga chuji and swan means that take the chair with which you will sit. So this now is giving us a kind of explanation as to what to do with the chuk, which is the noun here. Swan on its own, nga chuji as swan will just be take the chair and sit. But nga chuji and swan will now be like take the chair with which you will sit. Then we also have the second one. Kwaka, please read this one for us.
Kyak abaika amfat nyanji.
Kyak abaika ang fa nyangji. That is, take the knife and slaughter the chicken. Kyak is to carry, abaika is the knife, a is you, mufat is with which you slaughter Yuanji. Yuanji is the chicken. So you can also say Kyak Abaika Afad Yuanji. That's take the knife and slaughter the chicken. But then this one is saying Kyak Abaika Amfad Yuanji, which is take the knife with which you will slaughter the chicken. Then we have the third example. Waka, please read this one for us.
Mung abibiai wu an tak nkonna.
Okay, read
Bai
it
mung
once again.
bai mung abibiai wu an tak nkonna.
Oh, your line is breaking. Baimang abipiao ang
An tak
tag
nkonna.
nkonna. Baimang
Nkonna.
abipiao ang tag nkonna. Okay, so what this one is saying is that bring the a BPI. A BPI is a piece of wood that is usually bent at the middle that you use for carrying firewood. So bring the a BPI and arrange the firewood. So it could also be Baimang Abibiao attack Nkwana. But this one is saying Baimang Abibiao and attack Nkwana or Nkwana. So bring the ABPI and arrange the wood. So Guapa, please read number 4 for us.
Buo aso khodna an somba.
Okay. Bosa
Buo
Kwana
aso khodna an somba.
Somba. So this one is saying fetch the water and beat them. Fetch Bo Asapodna the water as you so that's fetch the water with which you would beat them. Bo is to fetch a support as the water. Is you. So with which to beat. Mba is them. So it could also be Bo support na asomba, which would be like fetch the water and beat them. But here with the combined with the so to give us so now, it is saying that you should fetch the water with which you would beat them. And then we have the fifth one. Kwaka, please read this one for us.
Nkunkiak mato nsinat amazaki.
Okay. Nkunkiak mato.
Nkunkiak mato nsinat amazaki.
Nsinat amazaki. So this one is saying that I had taken a car and or with which I went to Mazaki. Okay, I wanted to say something earlier on. It skipped my mind. I just remembered. So you can see this R here. When we are translating to English, this R is you. Say that's with which you will, if you say you here, you cannot translate this R to English. If not, it won't be correct. So if I'm to translate this one bit by bit into English from Tyap, it will be fetch water the you beat them. Okay, fetch water the you beat them. Or let me put it in another way. Fetch the water, you beat them. Fetch the water, you beat them. But then that sounds kind of off. But then whenever we're translating from Tyap, we have some certain things that we don't necessarily translate. And when we are translating from Tyap also has some certain words that are not present in English. So we don't even know what to equate those words to in English. So that's the uniqueness of the language. So the fifth one says Nkunkiak Mato, Nsinat Amazaki. It could also be Nkunkiak Mato, Nsinat Mazaki. That's I have taken a car and went and used it to or and went to Mazaki with it. But then this one is saying that I took a car with which I went to Mazaki. Then number 6, please go up.
Kiakhamji azumayaku. Kiakhamji
Okay, one more time.
azumayaku.
Okay, Jahamji Asumai Yaku. That is, he or she took a calabash or the calabash. He then measured the grains. So it could also be like Yahamji Asimai Yaku. That is, he or she took the calabash and measure the grains. But this one is saying that he or she took the calabash with which he or she measured the grains. So number seven, Bwaka.
Ngẹc chai ja. Nsum bai. Ngẹc
Nyak
chai ja.
Saija
Mm. Nsum bai.
Nsumbai. That is a head way, but so this one means that I climbed or I used a horse. It was the horse or it was a horse that I used, or let me put it like this: it was with a horse that I came. That is, I climbed a horse. It is a horse that I climbed. So you can see the arrangement now is somehow different from the English, so it's making the whole translation look somehow. So N is I, Nyag is to climb, Tsai is a horse, Ja is it is, I is N, and then S, then Mbai, which come. Okay, so this is come, somehow come. So Nyak Taija, Nyak Taija, Nsumbai. It was with a horse that I came. It could also be said as Nyak Taija, Nsumbai. It was a horse that, okay, I climbed a horse and I came. So these whole examples are actually giving us the usage of the prefixes and as regards the verb words, the verbal words, you know. So we can also note that the for plural forms of particular nouns like the words kyang and bwak, both of them belonging to the who definite article group. Kyang who, the thing, bwak who, the hand, and then nkyangna, the things, and then mbwagna, the hands. So this affixation could be done to verbs. It could also be done to nouns in Tiap. Then we also have negations in Tiap. Negation is when you are talking about something negative. The word ba, which is not, is used in indicating negative in Tiap. And for those who speak other dialects of Tiap, like Fatwam, Gorok, Daka, Tuku, they usually use dak. Dak is also not. So the word ba, I don't really know. I'm not sure if it's a Hausa word, but it seems a lot of languages around the central Nigerian area, Platoid language, Nenzit languages, they use the word ba. But then even within the Tiap language group, we also have the dak, which seems to be an original word used for Tiap, but then Tiap, Ju, Shulyo, then choose to use Ba instead of that. But then those are the negations in the Tiap language. But for the Tiap Magorodo, the Tiap dialect spoken in the Tiap chiefdom area, Ba is used. But then this very bar occurs at the end, usually at the end of a sentence, and a H is usually added to the bar so that to differentiate it from this bar, which is the, which is a plural form of the in Tiap. The other plural form is na. This one is the second one. But so whenever you are writing but na by but, always remember to put your H so that you differentiate it from the. And examples we have here is your Bible don't come. Your Bible don't come. And the second example says your one bar Bible. Your one Bible. Don't let them to come or don't let them come. So, sorry, in the negation also, we also have other ways of negation in Tiap outside of this very bar. And one of the ways we do negation in Tiap is the use of why. Uh, 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 ngwa why Bible. No, who can make an example of a negation for us in Tiap with a why by or something? Uh, to a why by Jenaja. That's the person who didn't come the other time. Can someone to give us an example, a proper example with the word why in terms of negation in Tiap?
Boku ni na ngwai yako.
Ah,
Boku ngwai yako.
okay. No, that's with negation. That's okay, but not to
Okay.
lose now.
Okay.
With a negative now of the very sentence. Or can you say "Bongwai can we think about a particular word with that way? Uh, but in case we can't think about anyone right now, let's also have it in the back of our minds that apart from this bar or dark for other dialect speakers of Tia, there's moi for negation, and then semo. Semo is also kind of used in both positive and negative ways, like semo by Jenaja. I couldn't come that period, even though the bar may not be added, but the contextual explanation or a contextual or interpretation of that very context would give the person the idea that that person is talking about a negative in Tiap. So Tiap can still be Tiap without the bar being used. It all depends on the user's choice. So we also have asking questions. We have different ways of asking questions in Tiap. Now, to ask a question in Tiap, we usually employ the very first one is a, and this R is usually a question marker in Tiap. Nifaga, did you hear? Ni is you plural, fuck is to hear, and this R we can't translate it to English. So it's just a question marker in Tiap. Yeah. So Nifaga, did you hear? But if you just say new fuck or new fuck, it means hear or listen or you listen. You are talking to more than one person. And then we have just means pardon. If somebody speaks like Wakab just spoke and maybe the network was kind of not clear, and then I just say it only means please repeat what you just said. I didn't hear you. So you can use for both formal cases and informal cases, both with elderly people and both your age mate, your peer group. So it doesn't matter what group it is. It is a general word we use in there. And then we have Zhang. Zhang is which. If you want to say which goat is it, you just say Zhangzhongja. Zhangzhongja. Oh God, this one is looking like a kind of tongue twister to me right now. So it's like okay, Zhangzhongja. Zhang. Okay, someone please unmute to pronounce this one for us.
That is the correct this thing.
Okay,
Zangzonja.
Zhangzhongja is web. Okay, Zhangzhongja. Okay, so that's the actual pronunciation. So which goat is it? Zang is just which, and then Zon is goat, and then Ja is it. Now this Ja can mean is it. Ja can also mean it is. So if you are asking, or if you are using it as a question, it will become is it. But if you are using it as a statement, it will become it is. So if you say Zonja without the Zang, it would mean it is a goat. Donja, it is a goat. But if you now introduce the Zang now, which is a question marker, it will not be a question marker, and then you have to put a question mark at the end of this. So it will be which goat is it? And then we have and then something about this Zang also. Zang, Zang. this one is usually used for non-living things mostly, but this one is also usually used for living things, which is enya. And an example is enyawaja. Enyawaja, who is there? Enyan is who. Why is it is, or is it? That's in terms of question now. It is it, and then in terms of a statement, it is. So enyawaja, it will be who is there. Aja is there. Uh, although it will be aja, enyawaja, waka. Is it correct? In Tiapo, enyawaja. Is it well pronounced?
Nyawa aja. Nyawa aja.
Enyawaja. Enyawaja.
Yeah.
Okay. So you can also see something that we didn't really explain, or we may have explained, but I would say it again. You see, this one, if it is the goat, it will be donji. But if you want to indicate this very goat with a statement, you say donja, it is a goat. Donja, it is a goat. But if it is ji that is here, it will become donji. That is the goat. But with a question marker, it and a question mark here, it will be it is for this ja. So that's for the G definite article words. We use ja for is it or it is. And then for the who definite article words, we use wa. If it is wa, wa, that is, it is guacab, guacabu, the guacab. Now, if you want to say, where is the guacab now? I came, I didn't see him. Where's the guacab? Guacabu shechi. Wakabu Shechi, that's a woo now, because the name of a person is a woo. So if you want to say Gwakawa, it would mean it is Gwakab. But now you are asking Anyawaja, who is there, because it is a person you are talking about that has the woo definite article. And then we also have Yihua. Yihua is what? Yihua Ohwa. What is that? Yihua Ohwa. Ohwa now is a that I think we treated this in our former class, and then in our previous class, and then we have a man, and then yuan. We have treated this in our adverb session of today's lesson. Among is used for the who, ka, ba, na definite article group. Man is used for the who definite article group of who, and then we have yuan for the g definite article words. And this one simply means how many or how much. And the example says, how many people, and yet people among how many yeah it is, I mean they are, or uh, it's actually they are, because and yet is plural. So we use bia for the bar words, hua for the who words, wa for the woo words, kia for the car words, and then nia for the now words, to mean it is or is it, depending on a statement or a question. And then the last word one here is nini or nini. Nini is how, nini how. And then the example says nini wa ambai, nini wa ambai. Gwaka, please omit for the last time again to give us pronunciation of this very sentence. Or if Tolibabe is close by, Tolibabe, can you please give us this one in Tiao?
You
Pronounce
were
this one
correct.
for us. Okay,
Niniwa
Niniwa.
Ambai. Niniwa
Okay,
Ambai.
Ninawa Ambai. Okay, Niniwa
Niniwa
Ambai.
Ambai.
Okay, but so how did you come? Nini is how, wa is it, a you, Mbai come. How did you come? Now, can you think of other ways of asking questions in TIAP? In case there are no other ways of asking questions, or in case there are other ways of asking questions in TIAP that you can think about, please, you can write in the comment section for us to also know and add to our next coming lessons so that we'll get everything captured. Then the second to the last part of our lesson today is the tenses in Tyap. Many people or many students will be asking, are there tenses in Tyap? Do we have present tense, past tense, future, habitual, continuous, and so on and so forth? Yes, we do. Most times, Tyap words or Tyap verbs can be used for simple present, and then they can also be used for simple past. That's the way Tyap verbs work. But then for us to make them past tense, proper past tense, like how do you say it in English? Like well, I can't remember the word now. Or for us to use them as future tense, we have to add modal verbs. So modal verbs are heavily used in Tiap, and in Tiap we have about three modal verbs that are used for past tense, which is ku, ku, and then we have kan, ka with an underscore n, can, which is had or has or have, and then we have b. But is a past tense, but it's usually used within the day. Who and can are used for something that happened other than today. Like who would be something that happened maybe yesterday or so, and then can is just from yesterday onwards, backwards. That's those are the past modal verbs in Tiap, and then the ones used for future in Tiap, we have bear. Bear is like may, something that is indefinite. Is a probability, bye, bear, and then we also have who is a definite article or is a border verb rather that is used for something that is going to happen tomorrow. That's will now or shall, but it has to be tomorrow. And then we have na. Na is a model verb that is used for things that are going to happen tomorrow and onwards, from tomorrow and so on and so forth forever. So there are three at the back, three at the front in here. So the first example says Bonat Bayeji. So if we are actually to make it very typical, we will have something before, after the bonad, before the question command. So it will be bonade Bayeji. That's bonad, come here. Bonad, come here. Then the second example says bonad Kobayaji. Bonad has come here, or bonad came here. And then we have the third one, Bonat Babayaji. Bonat came here. That is a while ago. It has to be today. Bonat Babayaji. Today. Maybe a minute ago or maybe in the morning. And today, right now it is evening, but it has to be past within the day. And then Bonana Bayaji. Bonana Bayaji, Bonat will come here. But you are not sure whether it's tomorrow or next tomorrow, the day after tomorrow, or 10 days time or 1 year time, but you are certain that Bonat is going to come here. Then the next one is Bonat Kambayaji. Bonat had come here, or Bonat has come here. And this can is saying that Bonat has come here either a minute ago or yesterday or 2 days ago or even 10 days ago or 10 years ago, but Bonat has come here. So this one is just the future equivalent of na. And then Bonat Bebayaji. Bonat may come here. You are not certain, but you know Bonat said he is going to come, or so on and so forth. Okay, sorry. We also have za in Tiap for past tense. So we have four of them behind, and then three of them at the very front. So Bonat Zanabayaji. Bonat Zanabayaji is like Bonat was to come here. Bonat was to come here as an Abayaji, what Ndigoba. He was to come here, but then I've not seen him. So was is sometimes we often hear people say Nzamambai Nsindiamba. That's I had come, you know. So we also have the next one, which is the Bonat Ubaechi. Bonat will come here. It has to be tomorrow actually. So it's definitely tomorrow. It's definitely that Bonat will come, but then it's in the future. Then Bonat Chobayeji, that Bonat is coming here. Bonat Chobayeji. And then we have Bonat Chongeji. That means Bonat is a constant customer here. He usually comes here habitually. Bonat Chongeji. So he's a constant visitor. So those are the different ways um, of classifying Tiap tenses. You know, so we also have the last subheading for today, which is echoing of vowel sounds, which is a very, very short lesson for us. So we must have heard in some sentences like Bokeyaku Aya, Bokeyaku Aya, that's fetch the food and eat. It's not just like it's not just Bokia Kwaya, but Bokia Kwaya. That's the ya. The ya is actually extended to be like it is two A's rather than one A. It's actually a echoing of the vowel sound. And then you have kyak a bird, kyak a bird. That is carry and put it on your head. Carry and put on your head. That's Jack a bird, but normally you should be Jack a bird, but this is elongated and then we have bird instead of bird. But in written form, we usually write it like this without the double A. Sometimes you see the doubling, but then in the the typewriting form is usually we are refining it and refining it. So changes are happening. So you may see something else in the future other than what you have seen in the past also. So we have the next word, which is the li now. The li is extended to li, like in the example, wana li, that's watch it and see. Just take a look at it and see. That's one Ali. And then Kayaku Maichak Achak. Kayaku Mayachak Achak. That's if the grains are matured enough for you to harvest it. Chag instead of just chak, but chag. Kayaku Mayachak Achak. And then the next one is Kai Kali Nang Asumunkai Shoiji Akai. That's if you see like if you deem it like you cannot be able to pass to walk past the bees you pass. That's actually what it means. And then we have the next word which is ngu. Now ndigu is like I have seen him or I have seen her. So the ngu is just elongated to sound like ngu instead of just ngu. And then we also have some things that we can look at. You can see that this A here in the night, that's to beg, is elongated. But then this one is the only way of writing this particular word. We cannot have NAI for to beg. It's often nine, not nine. If you make it nine, it will mean another thing in here. And then we also have fat. Fat is to slaughter. If you make it fat, it will mean another thing entirely. And then we have dot to get up. And if you make it dot, it may another thing again. And then you have load. Load is to write. If you make it load, I don't know. It may mean another thing, but I don't know if Tiap has any word like that. So we can compare the two of them. These ones we have them permanent. These are the only forms. But these other ones, they are long. They may be long, elongated, like in the New Testament. You see it written KPA underscore A underscore. You see it doubled to become bird. Sometimes you see ya with the double A. Lee, you see double A, double I Lee. This one you may see chak, you may see double I kai, and then you may see W ngu. But actually they differ from these other ones that are permanently like this. So I think this is where we are going to pause for today. This is 2 hours, and we are going to continue our lesson on the 5th of December 2025, which is going to be our very last lesson. So we have assignments here. So please, for all the assignments we have been giving to you, thank you So for all the assignments we are giving in lesson 1, lesson 2, lesson 3, lesson 4, and now lesson 5, please get an exercise book and answer all the questions in the assignment. All of them, put them in your exercise book. Write down the question for lesson 1 and then put the answers there. At the end of the lessons, like lesson 5 on the 6th of December, when we meet here, you are going to submit that exercise book to us in person. You submit the exercise book, and if you are viewing this one online, well, you can just do it for your personal development. Do it and keep it with you. Maybe when you are able to meet with us, then you can submit your book. But for those of us who are close by, please do your assignment and submit to us on the 6th of December as exercise. We are going to mark it, and then we are going to give you score out of 100%. We'll give you, if it is 10% you got, we'll give you 10%. If it's 0%, well, we're going to give you a big zero with two eyes and two nostrils and one big mouth and two ears also. And then if you get 100 over 100, we're going to give you 100%, and we're going to give you a certificate at the end of the day. And to the top participants, we're going to give you a small gift for your effort. So this very assignment for today says that you should translate the following to Tyap. The first one says Kajang has 3 chickens. The second one says 2 pots and 4 spoons are needed. And then the second point for this very assignment says, what are the plural forms of the following Tyap words? The first one is a year, the second one is third one is bong, and then the fourth one is a jig. So please do your assignments and submit on the 6th of December 2025. So we have a statement here by a gentleman called Carl Albrecht. Albrecht says, uh, language and change your thoughts. So I think what he was saying here, even though he may actually be saying it from a business perspective, but then in the linguistic perspective, change your language and change your thought to me would mean that whenever you change the language you speak, your thoughts also would align with the language you speak. For example, as I said in our past meeting, you see the way our politicians behave, you know the language they speak, you see the way they behave, then you can be able to draw a conclusion. So I won't say more than this right here. But then there's a statement by yours faithfully, and this statement is the mind kicks against the language of the people the eyes look down on. The mind kicks against the language of the people the eyes look down on. What this means is that when you have someone that looks down on a particular people, or it could also be yourself, if you yourself you look down on your own language, or if you look down uh, let me read it again, sorry. The mind kicks against the language of the people the eyes look down on. Okay, good, my thoughts are back now. So if you look down on a particular people, it could also be yourself you look down on. Then the language that the people speak, you are also going to look down on it. I don't know how correct this is psychologically, but probably the psychologists can do justice to this very one. But if you're a person that actually look at yourself with low self-esteem, then definitely there's a kind of probability that you are going to also look down on your own language, and you'll be ashamed of your language. But if you look at yourself with a high self-esteem, that you are equal to any other person that breathes on the surface of the earth, there's nothing that this person has that me I don't have it, and there's nothing that this person can do that I cannot do, so long as I'm determined to do it, then definitely you're also not going to look down on your own language, which is your own identity, because your language is equal to you yourself. So the more we give respect to our own selves or to our own people, and the more respect you give to your own self as a person, the more you look at yourself with a higher esteem as any other person else, not with a higher, because definitely no single human being is more than the other. Everybody is equal. But if you have that kind of eyes for yourself or for the people that you see, then definitely you are also going to value their language. That's why we had during the colonial period, when we had the colonizers come, because they looked down on the people that they were colonizing, they also looked down on their own languages, and that was actually what gave birth to some other things. And the result is what we see in our society, that a particular people don't speak their language because they were looked down on, and they were told that they were not good enough as the other people, and so they took it like that, and they also absorbed it, and they also began to pass it on, that their own people are not good enough, or their own language are not good enough, and so the language begins to die. That's the way it is all over the world, not just peculiar to the Tyap speakers, but it is something that can be changed, and that's exactly what we are doing through these little efforts that we are putting in to see that more and more people should become literate in the language and begin to become writers themselves, begin to become teachers themselves, and begin to teach their own children how to speak this language, and even begin to teach their children how to read and write in this very language, so that at the end of the day, let it be that we have a lot of stories published as books written in the Tyap language. We also have a lot of broadcasting, a lot of social media pages that are entirely written in the Tyap language. We also have comedies, a lot of music, movies that are entirely done by speaking the Tyap language and not another language. So these are the aims of us doing these things that we are doing. And at the end of the day, we also are expecting that this knowledge that we have gathered, we also put it back into our Wikimedia work, because we have the Tyap Wikipedia, and then we have the Tyap Dictionary, which is the Sonaliad Wiki. And it is good that as we know how to write in the Tyap language, we also put back the effort. That's our own way of giving back now what we have learned into the Tyap Dictionary and the Tyap dictionary, the Sonaliad Wiki, and the the Tyap Wikipedia, so that at the end of the day, we see that these projects grow and other projects of the language also grow. So thank you very much. And if you need to reach us, the organizers of this very project, please click on this very link, or you can scan this very QR code, or you can call Create on this very number. So this is where we I'm going to pause it for now as regards this very live stream. So I don't know if anybody has a question to ask before we say bye bye. Uh, so I can see we are only three currently. The last man stands. Antokori, Nzama, and actually, Babi, do you have any questions to ask?
Yeah. Hello.
Yeah, we can hear you loud and clear.
I only had a little understanding, maybe if it applies. When you are
Okay.
talking about a bar and a B, a bango and a
Okay.
binam, and I just discovered uh, when you say a bar, this is something that is little but is countable. A B is something that is little but
Okay.
uncountable.
Mm.
This is just an
Okay.
understanding I had, and I said maybe I'll just shout it out. I don't know whether I'm correct. A
Okay.
binam,
So,
a
yeah.
bango, and a bangon, these are all countable. Then a binam, a
Yes.
B, whatever is
A bit cool.
uncountable. Mhm.
Yes. So, thank you, Zugwai, So that one actually confirms kind of what I was thinking earlier on. So thank you very much for this very addition. And I don't know if actually Babe has something to add also, or to ask. Actually, Babe, you have any question or any comment to make before we close? Or if you are speaking, your mic is muted. Okay, so this is 9 minutes to, I mean, 4 minutes to nine, after nine, and we have taken 2 hours into the, even though we started about 7:10, so we are just about 6 minutes to reaching 2 hours. So, we'll just call it a day for this very fifth lesson of the Tyap Wiki Bootcamp uh, transitional course. So thank you very much. My name is Kambai, and to actually Babe Ishaku, thank you for staying to this very time, and then for Tokari JJ Zama, thank you very much also for staying to this very minute, because it's not easy to stay for 2 hours. So see you.
All right, thank
We're
you.
going to, yeah, quite please. So we're going to meet tomorrow by 9:30, 10 o'clock in the morning at Banawa AX1 by Narai Junction, Banawa, Kaduna, to have our in-person event. And we're going to mix it with the Mentor Me program, and we're going to have a wonderful time tomorrow. So thank you all for joining us. So Boy, I told you Bobby for staying to the very last minute. First person to come, first person, last person to go. So, so thank you very much for staying over. So, on va nous déjà.